Hi, this is Amanda Frankel with Our Crafty Playdate, and I posted this card on my blog the other day for a color challenge with a picture of hydrangeas, and I got a lot of questions on how I made these hydrangeas, so I wanted to show you how I made them. All right, so we're going to get started right now. Let's see here. The first thing is I used soft sky paper. You can see that I'm just using scrap here. So I always assemble things in parts. You guys know that about me. So we're going to assemble these separated from the rest of the card. So one of the things that you're going to need here is you are going to need a 2-inch circle. And you don't have to use this color. That is the color that I used for the background of the flowers. Also, the flowers are blue, this sky blue. But if you are using a different color for this background, your circle should match this background, not your flowers. And I'll show you why in a little bit. But in any case, so your circle needs to match this color that you're using. Okay, so mine is done here. And then you are going to need to punch a whole bunch of these little guys. These are the petite petal. This is the petite petal punch. And again, you can just use a piece of scrap. You're going to be punching for a while, so this is a good TV project you can make while you're doing TV. And you're going to need somewhere close to 11 or 12 per flower that you're doing. So this has 2, so you're going to be punching for a while. But I've already done that. Miracle of modern TV for you. Okay, so here we go. I wanted to get them to curl a little bit. You see how they're kind of curvy? Because I want them to kind of puff. Make it look a little puffy. So the way that you do that is you use your stamp pierce mat and your piercer, and you just take the things that you just punched and lay them out here, and you just kind of go in a circle along with my camera. Sorry about that, guys. You just kind of go in a circle, keep going, and as you go, you can see it starts to curve up. So it does give you a little bit of a curl. See that little lip? Okay, so that is perfect. Set that aside, and you're going to do all your flowers that way. Again, I have done some of them for you here. So let's get started with what we've got here, and I'll show you what to do next. Next, you can use a lot of different ink colors. I used 2 on this particular card. This is Marina Mist. It really looks navy, but it is Marina Mist. And this one, I don't even remember what it was. Oh, Pacific Point. See how that goes really quickly? But you can do it with a lot of different colors too. Look at these that I'm making in Wisteria Wonder. Isn't that perfect? I think those will work really well too because there are just so many colors of hydrangeas right now. So that's Wisteria Wonder. But we are going to be using our Marina Mist to make a flower here. So that's this darker one here. And what you want to do, now since you're going to be doing a lot of inking, normally you would just, use your ink dauber, because remember, this is my Marina Mist. This is how I label them. And I would just tap here and then ink the edges. But since I know that I'm going to be using a lot of ink on it, I don't want to deplete my ink collection here. So one of the things that I'll do is take my re-inker, and you've seen me put it on a big tray before, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it here. By putting it here, this kind of is doing double duty. That way, when I'm done doing my flowers and I close it up, it's actually going to be kind of inking my ink pad. So double dipping there. Okay, so when you're inking your edges, you want to make sure that you're supporting the curve of this flower. Remember, because this is how they are straight. And that would be inking them straight. If you ink them straight and then you try to curl them, you make a huge mess on your mat and on your fingers. So this way, not that I ever care about mess on my fingers, mind you. But this way, I'm supporting the curve, and then I'm going to just kind of do it like this. I'm still going to get ink on my fingers. So pick a color that you can manage to wear the rest of the day. Match your outfit with your flowers. Okay, and they will look a lot darker when you first do them than they will when they're dry. All right, and you do want to go through and do all of your flowers like this. Supporting the curve on there. Okay, and you get a little on your nail and you just wipe it off. But you go ahead and you do all of your flowers. You can already see that this one looks a lot different than this color here because it's already starting to dry. So again, I'm going to close this up I put that aside, and I am going to store it upside down right now, even though normally you want to store it like this because Stampin' Up! Actually designs their ink pads so that they store themselves upside down to keep your ink pad really nice and juicy. I hate that term for ink pads, but it's what we've got. Anyway, so you can store it upside down right now because it's got the re-inker in what is this bottom, and it will leak right into the ink pad. Perfect. All right, I have done a bunch of flowers in Marina Mist for you, and you can see they actually do dry significantly lighter as you go. But anyway, I've got them here, so let's just get going with what I've got. How's that? Okay, let's move this out of the way for another flower, another day. And we're going to go back over here, and I'm going to show you how to assemble this flower. So we're going to take our 2-inch square that we punched out. And the reason that we had it done to the background color and not the color of the actual flowers themselves is we're assembling on circles. And sometimes you can see a bit through the flower against the background. You won't really notice it if you've made it the same as your background. But if you've made it the same as these flowers, you will actually see a little bit back there. So we're going to start going ahead and gluing them down. Here is one that I have completed. And here is one in another color. This is the Pacific Point that I couldn't remember earlier, but this is the Marina Mist. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to do that. I use my liquid Tombow because I love it and because I think it's going to do exactly what I need it to do here. I'm just going to put a little bit and a little dabble do ya on this ink, remember? Okay, so I'm going to take it and I'm just going to stick it down here, and it doesn't have to be in the middle. What you want to make sure that you're not doing is putting one here and then going around and then going around. You want it to look a little more random than that because that's how these flowers really would look out in the wild because, you know, we never cultivate these flowers, right? I have a bunch planted in my yard. So sometimes I'm sticking flowers underneath, and then other times I'm going to be sticking flowers on top like this. And I'm just going to keep going around. I could be quiet and speed this up, but that's no fun. I'm going to just leave it like this. As you see, I'm just going to keep going around until I've filled most of the gaps on here. And if you have a couple extra flowers, you could always just stick it in there, you know, to kind of fill a little spot if you see a real vacancy. That works too. All right, so after you have your whole flower like this assembled, where you just keep going around sticking more flowers on with glue until you're happy with the shape and the bulk of your flower. Once you've done that, you're going to need to put on these little center pearls. And I love them. These are just our basic pearls. And this is the size that I used. This size is just a little tiny bit big for this particular flower. And this size just chokya. Great for cards, but not great necessarily for this. Now, if you'll notice, the colors of these are completely different. These are white, the way they come, and these are a little green. And I wanted them to look green so that they really look more like a hydrangea because their middles are a little green dot like that. So I needed a color that looked a little like mint macaron. So I went to my Sharpie collection and I said, this one does not look at all like mint macaron, so let's try it. And then I colored a little on white, and it did actually lighten up and look like it. So play with your Sharpies a little bit, and I've colored a couple of them here so you can see what happens when you color them. And then here's some white ones, and I know I'm going to need at least 11 or 12. Here's how you're very fancy about coloring them. One thing, a tip that I will give you here, a little craft hack, is if you're going to be coloring on either your rhinestones or your, I'm going to zoom in a little here. If you're going to be coloring on either your rhinestones or your pearls on your paper here, you do want to push them down first with your finger to really make sure they're stuck on their back of glue. Because if you do this, sometimes you can chase your pearl right off your adhesive dot. So you do want to do that first. And you do not want to color these once they're already on the flower. So do color them when they're here and then set them aside a second to dry. I've done those ahead, so we can go ahead and do those. And I'm going to grab my piercer again, and I'm going to put some on this little flower. And I just poke it like that and stick it down and push. And I will tell you that you do not need to put a little pearl in every single flower. Really just the ones that would be kind of looking at you if you were looking at the flower. Oh, come on. That worked. That worked well. All right, there you go. All right, so you would go ahead and put all of your pearls on that you wanted to use. And again, you do not need to blanket the world with your pearls here. So this doesn't have to be a crazy expensive flower. You're just really gonna add them every now and then. Okay, so I have added them where I wanted. Remember, we stuck that in there to fill out our flower. And once you've stuck that where you wanted, you will end up with 2 flowers, because you're going to make many of these. But this particular card, we used 2. I'm going to push all this off to the side and put my lid on my glue so that I can actually use it later. Okay, so now we've got this card here that we were doing, and I want to show you the rest of it so that I can let you get started playing, because now that you have the general gist, you're going to want to do it. I have used Sahara Sand as the background because it's nice and subtle, and you guys are also very tired of me using Crumb Cake, which is one of my other favorite colors. But Sahara Sand is great because it's not so stark white or vanilla like your other colors, so it really doesn't fight with your card here. So that's why I'm using that. And then again, you knew that I was going to be using Soft Sky background because I have the circles that I punched underneath my flowers. These circles are Soft Sky. So this is going to be Soft Sky, and I'm going to stamp it right here with the ink pad that I already put away, buried. Here we go. My Marina Mist that is nice and fresh now that you can see where the re-inker soaked in a little bit to my ink pad. That's great. It'll be a nice good spot. I am using a stamp from the set called Feel Goods. And this one I love. I think it's a great sentiment, but I am doing a different one here. Here it is. This is the one I want to do. You'll see what it looks like when I stamp it. Okay, so, and I thought I'd just make this for someone who did comment on my Facebook page, because you can also find me at Our Crafty Playdate on Facebook, that this is one of her very favorite flowers. So I thought I'd just make this card and surprise her with her favorite flower. I'm going to put this way down here, hopefully get it kind of straight, because I did not want to use my Stamp-A-Majig, although that will be a good lesson too. All right, give it a little pressure, count to 3, lift, straight enough, good. So it says, those who bring sunshine into the lives of others cannot keep it from themselves, and that fits her. All right, so this is just glued straight down on my card, again with my liquid glue, and I don't need very much. And you say, wow, that really isn't very much. No, it's really very, very little, but it will hold. I would stick that down here. And then once I have my 2 circle flowers made, I might do this one and the wisteria together. Wouldn't that be pretty? I think that would be super pretty on her card. I think she would like that. Okay, so once I have the 2 flowers made, I'm just going to position them here, one a little in front of the other. I might, when I go to glue these down, I might glue this one straight down on my card. And I don't have any pearls here, so I probably would rotate it like this. And this one I'm going to put up on 1-dimensional so that it looks like it's a little in front of this other one. And there you go. I think that'll do you. You get the idea. I'm going to go ahead and put all my pearls on here and get this card made. So thank you for watching, and thank you for asking questions, because when you're asking questions, I know then that you're actually watching my videos and enjoying them. And any comments that you have, I would be glad to take them into consideration, or anything you want to learn, I'd be glad to teach you. If you see any supplies here that you would like to get your hands on, this stamp set is retiring at the end of this month. So if this is one that you would like, then you would want to get in on that pretty quickly. But the other things, everything else I've used here today is not going to be retiring, so you have a little bit of time to play with it, but it is hydrangea season, so get in there. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe below and click like on my video, please. It makes me feel loved. Have a great day.